Hi there, welcome to Lamlam's audiobook novel channel. Today's story is titled, Donavon's Lost Luna. Chapter 6. Zuri, can you hear me? Are you okay? I knew it would be Hart's voice from outside the door as I wriggled furiously in Alpha Donavon's hands. Please let me go. I'll go bring some other girl for you. I'm not the one you want. I screamed in his face to no avail. His gaze had all blurred out, and as strong as she was, his movements were sloppy, but that wasn't enough for me to slip out of his arms. I don't care about who you are. All I want is to pin you down under this bed and have my way with you, Alpha Donavon growled, and I felt my body shudder with fear. Hart was hitting on the door as hard as he could, but it only resounded as a soft thud on the side of the bed. Please let me go. I just came to save you. I'm done with that now. Let me go for goodness' sake. I purred and pleaded, but to no avail. Donavon forcefully placed me on the bed, and I could only watch as he stood over me, smiling. Please, I muttered, but it felt as though I didn't say anything when he tore the gown off my body with a snap. My body was exposed to the cold air in the room, and my body shuddered with a pang of emptiness. He held my hands pinned to the wall and arched my back to his waist. Please, you're going to regret this, I begged one last time before he held his tip and slid in mercilessly into me. With each thrust, the pain intensified, and I felt my defenses crumbling, as if my world were shattering before my eyes. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you, Zuri. My father's words replayed in my ears as tears trickled down from my face. Zuri, that man is a monster. Zuri, why do you want to help him? It is nothing to you if he gets usurped from the title. We'd be freed, and we could go back to our pack. Zuri, the man is not worth saving. Hart's words resounded painfully with the incessant thud on the door, and my insides welled with brimming tears as Alpha Donavon slammed mercilessly into me again, causing them to come rushing down like a flood. Please just let me go, I begged. But he wouldn't take any of it until whatever was fed to him had waned off his body. I looked towards the door, imagining what Hart would be like after all the banging, a swollen hand or a bruised body. My throat had already gone dry and raspy from crying for too long, and finally, Alpha Donavon came down from on top of me. I stretched my hands to pick up the piece of the torn gown on the bed, and wore it to cover as little as it could. When my eyes set on the pale brown sweater on the bed, I wobbled to pick it up to cover half of my body, with its length reaching my mid-thighs. I slid down from the bed, staggered, and fell to the ground, reaching for the door, when my hand slipped from the handle, and I plopped to the ground, hitting my butt hard against the ground. I bit my lips, staggering up again. I unlocked the door, and Hart's figure bolted from the ground like I'd imagined. What did that bastard do to you, Zuri? Hart yelled, and I was about to go in when I fell into his hands. He defiled me, Hart, I said, and finally burst into tears. The trickling tears in the room weren't comparable to this one. My chest hitched up and down, and the sound of my cries filled the hallway. I'm going to kill that son of a bitch today, Hart said, trying to go into the room when I held him back. I pleaded with him to go back before it was too late. He hesitated for a moment, then carried me out of the hotel. I'd already fallen asleep before we reached the pack house at dawn, and Hart tapped me awake when we reached. I stared at myself in his arms, wondering how he'd managed to carry me from the hotel to the packing house. Zuri, Hart called with his lips pursed. You should just go into that room. I shouldn't have let you, he said, and the raspiness of his voice filtered through my ears. Just a little more time, Zuri, and I'll kill that man and make him pay for what he did to you, Hart said, and I smiled weakly. I'm sorry, Hart, for making you do all of these for me. I know you clearly despise it, and as much as I also want to despise him, I can't, Hart. We'll get our freedom someday, and we'll forget about all of this, I said, holding his hands. You're too good with your words, Hart said as he held his fingers to my face and wiped the tears from my face with his thumb. I love you nonetheless, Zuri, and remember, whatever happens, I'm always here for you, even if we join forces to defeat that evil Alpha, Hart said, running his palms over Zuri's hair. "Let us go back to the dungeon. We cannot be found outside like this," I said, feeling heart hesitate. "I promise, Zuri, I'll take revenge for you. You're a princess, even a queen." "It doesn't matter how long it takes," Heart said. I smiled at him and then walked towards the dungeon. "I'll suggest you hold on to that sweater. Find a safe place for it in the dungeon where only you can access it," he said, and I nodded as we made our way back to the dungeon when a patrol guard's flashlight suddenly illuminated us. Thanks for listening to Lamlam audiobooks. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes. New chapters drop every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 9 a.m. Stay tuned, because in this story, nothing is ever what it seems. Until next time, keep listening.